Bass lines are somewhat a very important piece when it comes to like beat making in general, but we're speaking of boom bap specifically here. So bass lines are very important actually. And I'm gonna show you the different ways to make a fire bass line in your beats. Music producers, what's up and welcome back to another video. It's me, they call me Heat. If this is your first time watching any of my videos today, I'm a music producer of over 15 years. And on my channel right here, I show producers how to make some of the best boom bap, hip hop style beats. I used to listen to Pete Rock. Well, I still listen to Pete Rock beats. People like that had very prominent like bass lines in their beats. Knots, you know, on a lot of the Busta Rhymes stuff, just like the bass line work on there. And as I was getting into beat making when I was coming up, I found Kev Brown, which Kev Brown is kind of like Pete Rock to me. So I watched a lot of Kev Brown and I learned how to make bass lines from Kev Brown in the, you know, in the sense of like a Pete Rock, knots, things like that. Like I was able to see how it was being done, right? So Kev Brown, he always, you know, he had some videos that I could actually watch him create, and I would see how he would press the notes on the pads, you know, when he was making his bass lines, and how maybe he may have held it longer for certain notes, or he may have let up faster or made the note shorter for certain notes. So I'm here to show you guys a lot of the things or the tips, the tricks that I learned coming up. So let me show you. Let's find a sample. You know, I like to chop up samples, you know what I mean? So let's get into it. Ooh, perfect loop. Perfect. So you already know I'm going to grab the fruity slicer for this one here. Okay, so I just came up with a drum pattern, and I did use some drums from my Dirty Waves drum kit. Just a simple boom bap pattern. Really, really dope. I like this. So now I have to chop the sample and get the sample to, you know, match the drums. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play around a little bit with the sample, see what I can come up with. I like that. I like that pattern. That's super dope. Now, a lot of you, I know you probably don't have all of the same plugins, but if you are using FL Studio, you can use the same plugin I'm using right here, which is called Sakura. And this is what I'm going to use for my bass today. Now, normally I would use Trillion, but for the folks out there that don't have Trillion or things like that, you can still use Sakura in FL Studio. You just might have to bounce it down if you don't have the full version, but that's okay. So I use the Deep House preset right here. Deep House Bass. That's the one I use, and it sounds like this. This is almost close to the bass that Kev Brown was using when I was learning from him and just kind of understanding how to make bass lines. So this is like the closest that I've found in Sakura. Obviously in Trillion there are other basses that work, but this is the one that's closest to what Kev Brown was using. So I like this bass. And you can also put it on the mixer, and like if you have plugins like guitar plugins, you can add that. I have Guitar Rig, so sometimes I'll add that on there. You don't necessarily need these plugins. You can do EQing, add distortion, just different things to kind of, you know, bring some character out of the actual bass. Hey, so really quick, if you're liking this video and you liking what you're seeing so far and you feel as though this is valuable to you and you want to see my full process of how I really go through making a beat, head over to boombapuniversity.com and pick up my Cooking That Boom Bap Masterclass. In this masterclass, I'm going to show you how to find samples, how to find drum sounds, how to use the samples, how to use the drums, how to arrange your beat, how to get it out of a loop and just turn it into a whole beat, as well as how to mix the beat to get it ready to give to an artist or to sell on your beat store, right in this 2-hour course. You can grab this course at boombapuniversity.com, the Cooking That Boom Bap Masterclass. I'm really showing you and really breaking down my full beat making process for you. All right, boombapuniversity.com, the Cooking That Boom Bap Masterclass. let's get back into the video. So before we can lay the bass down, we do have to find the root note of the sample. So once I get that, then I'll be able to start maneuvering, since I know the other keys that work within that root note. All right, so we found a little bit. So the root note basically is 3 steps above the key of C. So middle C here, and then you count 1, go up to the next one, 2, then you count another one, 3. So I don't necessarily know what key that particular key is in FL Studio. It states that it's a D. So the first root note is, according to FL Studio, D. So I can transpose my keyboard, and if you have the transpose option, you can move that note of D to the actual middle key of C. That way you can now play everything, you know, within that particular key. I'm gonna pretty much use the majority of the black keys. There are a few white keys that I can add in to add some variation, but for the most part, all the black keys is where we're at. So I'm gonna pull this up so that you can actually see me recording it in real time. Now there are some notes that are off a little bit and probably not correct, so I'm gonna have to go back in and fix those. But this style right here is one of the ones that I learned from Kev Brown, and essentially it's like a bass guitarist plucking the note versus holding it if they're playing a bass guitar. So they would be boom, 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 boom. Whereas normally, or a lot of us play it, or a lot of you play it that I see is holding the note where it's boom, boom. And this is just a different way to do it, to just make it a little bit more exciting. I'm gonna play it back, although I know there are some off notes. Super dope. I mean, it's really a fire pattern. That one right there, like I said, this is just like a plucking kind of style. You're not necessarily resonating the notes, you're more so just plucking them. I'm gonna find a different sample so that, you know, we can try something different. We can look for a different type of groove. Showed you one groove, which is really good, very simple, don't have to do much. This is all about finding the root note and then playing out some dope bass line. You know what I'm saying? So you have to find the root note first before you can start playing the actual bass line. You don't want to just be playing notes. It's just not right. So let's find a new sample, and yeah. This kind of almost reminds me of some Tribe Called Quest right here. We're gonna chop this sample up in 32 beats and see what we get. All right, so now it's time to find that root note of the actual bass. So that's what we're gonna do. We need to find where the root note is sitting at, and, you know, try to play it out from there. Now that note resonates more with that first note, so I'm gonna play it a couple times and play a few different notes so you can listen to the resonance of the note. You can tell when it's right and when it's wrong. That's how I learned how to get my bass in key, because the resonance doesn't sound right when it's off, and I want y'all to pay attention to that piece of this. None of those notes work, right? They don't sound, they don't ride the sample good, right? So I'm gonna play a couple of the correct notes where the root note is at, so you can hear now what it sounds like when it's correct. Simple. It's simple to me because I've been doing it for a long time, but it is simple. I mean, it's just listening and using your ears and really understanding that's not right. That's not okay. That's not good. And I kept the bass line very simple on purpose. Now you can go crazy. You can add in, you know, different variations in the open spaces, but this was just on purpose because this is one of the ones where we did let a couple notes resonate and then we made the other one shorter. So there's different things that you can do. These are fire bass line patterns right here that you could use in any beat. So now when I throw that over the drums, watch how it all falls into place now. Yeah, now that's more funky, you know what I'm saying? It's got a more funky vibe to it, and it works. It just works. We've used 2 different samples and put bass lines on them, and this just works. These are just a couple things that you can do, but you want to find that root note, and when you find that root note, start figuring out the notes that are in that key. You can go on Google, what are all the keys in the key of D? Okay, now it's going to show you everything from there. Then you can start playing them across the keys, but you have to find the root note first before you can start laying any type of bass line down. All right, producers, I really hope that I inspired someone to go create today, to go get to cooking that boom bap, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what we do, you know? But yeah, that's the end of the video. This is pretty much, you can go rewind this back and look at the steps, look at the notes, look at how they are, you know, placed, so that then you can do the same thing that's in today's video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate y'all sticking around and being a part, you know what I mean? If you are a patron on Patreon, you can head over there right now, patreon.com/TheycallmeHeat, and download all the sounds that were used in today's video as well as previous videos. I'm gonna get out of here, y'all, and until next time, peace.